Tonight, ominous outlook.
Tough decisions follow. That is for certain.
The message from college leadership announcing more cuts at Fanshawe. Plus, moving closer to a majority.
Quite simply couldn't sit on the sidelines.
The latest Conservative defection joining Mark Carney's Liberals. And London's Veteran Village.
This is game changer stuff. You have to pinch yourself and make sure that you're not dreaming.
The private donation building homes for those who served.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The president of Fanshawe College says more cuts are coming. At a town hall meeting this week, he laid out a dire financial picture for the post-secondary institution while enrollment numbers decline further. With more, here's Jerry Dewan.
President Peter Devlin made it clear early in Tuesday's town hall meeting that Fanshawe College's struggles are continuing.
Tough times in the post-secondary sector, particularly in the college sector, and indeed at Fanshawe College.
Devlin's presentation took place in the London campus auditorium. He laid out how expenses continue to outpace revenues, projecting a $26.5 million deficit this year, which could balloon to over $54 million in 27-28. He also noted that enrollment continues to decline.
Last year, Fanshawe College leadership announced they were cutting 400 positions. That number has now ballooned to over 500 positions, representing about 40% of the workforce.
To be very specific, we need 163 more positions to have achieved that target of 500 positions.
Last week, the provincial government committed $6.4 billion over 4 years for post-secondary education. It's also allowing the raising of tuitions by 2% a year over the next 3 years. Devlin cautioned that the approximately $1.6 billion worth of annual funding will be shared by 47 colleges and universities across the province, along with other institutions and programs.
Listen, I'm encouraged by the announcement, but I wouldn't want you to think it's the answer to all of our challenges, because I don't feel that it is yet.
To this point, 40 programs have been cut at Fanshawe College, and Devlin says they continue to look for efficiencies.
Tough decisions follow. That is for certain. And I continue to be committed to you in terms of being open and transparent.
Devlin says they're embracing the province's mandate to create training and education programs that will meet the needs of a changing economy, and that should open the door for new programs to be added.
By 2035, Ontario will need 1 million more. That's more college graduates in skills such as health, skilled trades, technology, and advanced manufacturing.
Mark Feltham, president of OPSU 110, the union that represents faculty at the college, declined to comment on Devlin's latest update, saying the union is awaiting the impacts of the province's funding allotment. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Strong mayor powers are caught up in political crossfire tonight in Sarnia. That city's mayor is standing firm in his opposition to funding a new police station, while provincial officials are trying to clarify just what city leaders are allowed to do with their enhanced authorities. Brian Bicknell reports.
The chair of the Sarnia Police Service Board says the board is still trying to figure out how to get a new police station. It follows a letter from Ontario's Solicitor General to municipalities that mayors cannot use so-called strong mayor powers to challenge police budgets.
We've sent the letter to council requesting that the veto be vetoed, basically, and that the $5 million be added back into the budget. We are reevaluating, looking to see what we can get accomplished with the funds that we do have, while still hoping that council does deliberate over this $5 million so that we can get started.
Late last year, Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley vetoed the city's police budget request of $5 million to begin work on a new police headquarters. Bradley says he's not about to reopen the city budget.
This idea that police boards now, without any accountability, they're not elected, and they don't report to the public, and you can't remove them, will now be able to say to any city, any town, this is how much money we want each year, and govern yourself accordingly. You're going to have to find money or kill other projects that are really important to your community because we're number one.
In London, the most recent budget passed 2 years ago in the 4-year budget cycle increased police spending by $672 million. London police have since returned $2.3 million.
It's a pretty high bar to set for a municipality to not supply the budget, which is why my approach has been to work closely with the police board as a member of the board, and this board has returned dollars for the past 2 years.
Introduced in 2022 for big cities, Strong Mayors was expanded last year to include all 216 Ontario mayors. At least one legal opinion suggests that it was when the province expanded Strong Mayor powers to smaller municipalities, that's when the questions of interpretation began to arise. London councillor Sam Trossow is a retired law professor. He believes the legislation was rushed.
I think if it was the intention of the legislature to categorically exempt police services matters from the Act, they would have or they should have said so. And they probably rushed this through so quickly, maybe they didn't even bother to think about it. But I think that the mayor of Sarnia is within his rights to challenge this part of the budget.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A controversial application to build a 30-story high-rise on Rideout Street sparked public outbursts today, leading to ejections from the planning meeting and a councillor suggesting campaign donations are influencing how some of his colleagues are voting. Daryl Newcomb reports.
Older rental apartments like those at Rideout in Kent represent some of the last remaining housing stock that people at lower or middle income levels can actually afford.
The risk of having my home ripped out from under me again. Apologies.
Neighborhood opposition to a proposal by York Developments to build a 30-story residential tower at the corner of Kent and Rideout. City staff recommended refusing the application because the building's simply too big for the North Talbot neighborhood, where the specific property has an 18-story limit. But Councillor Steve Lehman argued the building would be permitted within the downtown planning district immediately across the street.
I can't see why this would not be good to add some more stories here and bring more people in. We can...
Okay, there are no comments from the gallery, and I will ask corporate security to please clear the gallery, unfortunately.
I'm not going to take in that. These buildings are sitting empty. Well, I think it's a disgrace. You keep electric cars, and I am going to buy or walk.
When the disruption was resolved, debate resumed, but tensions remained high.
We have planning policy guidelines for a reason. We never follow those planning policy guidelines. I have no idea why that is. I can see why members of the public are outraged, because I am too.
I share the councillor's sense that this is outrageous, and I understand why members of the public. This is their community that is being destroyed.
Councillor Ferreira then drew the ire of some of his colleagues, who had argued that the high-density building would generate development charges and additional property taxes.
The money and the DCs and the tax revenue generation and the campaign donations that might come out of that too. But what I'm saying is this.
Your comment about this leading to campaign donations is out of order.
Eventually, Lehman's motion to recommend approval of the 30-story tower was supported 3-1.
The community is not going to be happy with an 18 or a 30, so we're going to have to make a decision based on the application that's before us.
Expect more contentious debate when council makes a final decision March 3rd. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Provincial police say 4 children were hurt in a school bus crash near Woodstock this morning. They released this image of the bus in a Norwich Township ditch on social media. According to police, the bus was carrying 40 students at the time and no other drivers were involved. The students' injuries have been described as minor.
Good evening. We've had some slippery road conditions outside of London today. In London, the temperature holding at the freezing mark and above, leading to rainfall. But outside of the city, we had measurable freezing rain, areas off to the east and northeast. We still have a freezing drizzle advisory in effect this evening. The main moisture associated with this front has now moved well off to the east. Windsor is the hot spot in all of Canada right now at 7 degrees, and you can see where that warm air is crept in at the the freezing mark in London, but as we move to Waterloo, Mount Forest, and even Oxford County, temperatures are holding at the freezing mark and below, leading to this light freezing drizzle. So slick conditions continue after a day of freezing rain, ice pellets for some, and even a snowfall. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. Mild temperatures will hold heading into your Thursday and Friday, and we have a round of rain coming in. We'll talk about that, and I'll look at your weekend forecast with you in just a few minutes. Carlyle?
Julie, thanks very much. Another Conservative MP has crossed the floor, joining the governing Liberals. It's a move that creates a possible pathway for the Prime Minister and his party to secure a working majority in Parliament. With more, here's Mike Couture.
Matt brings a wealth of experience.
Prime Minister Mark Carney praising his newly poached MP. Matt Genereux says his decision to leave the Conservatives was more about the team he was joining.
Quite simply couldn't sit on the sidelines after seeing what the Prime Minister was, the ambitious agenda he was undertaking across the country and across the world.
In November, Genereux said he was leaving politics to spend more time with his family. But the Alberta MP says it was Carney's speech at Davos that convinced him to change his mind.
I think it opened a lot of eyes for Canadians, Albertans, Edmontonians, just how serious this national unity crisis truly is.
A Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, responded on social media, calling the floor crossing a betrayal of the people in Genereux's riding who voted for affordable food and homes, safe streets, and a strong resource sector. And some believe Genereux could suffer the consequences of his decision in the next federal election.
When he starts knocking on doors, he's going to get a bit of a wake-up call that these people didn't vote for a good speech in Davos. They voted for a Conservative member of Parliament to represent their Conservative values, and that's not what they're getting.
But Poilievre could feel the effects first. Genereux is the third MP he's lost to the Liberals in the last 4 months. While polls have the Liberals and Conservatives in a dead heat, Carney has a 29-point lead when it comes to preferred Prime Minister.
When some caucus members leave to cross the floor to join the Liberals, that's their own vote of what I'll say discontent with Pierre Poilievre as a leader and as a potential Prime Minister.
Now, this latest floor crosser leaves the Liberals 3 seats shy of a majority. And with 3 by-elections coming up, they could get that majority without holding a general election. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A 61-year-old man from Middlesex County was found not criminally responsible today for his role in the death of his elderly mother. Nick Paparella has more on the decision from the London courthouse.
It was on January 11th of 2024 when 61-year-old Emmanuel Medeiros, a man with a long history of mental health issues, walked into the OPP detachment near his home in North Middlesex, telling the dispatcher he killed his mother. In an agreed statement of facts, the court heard that he told police, "I wanted her to be with my father." Minutes later, when officers rushed off to the home on Wardell Drive, they found 82-year-old Maria Medeiros lying on her bed, covered in blood. Her son told officers he was protecting his mother from evil people. "I'm guilty. There's devil worshippers operating in London and Strathroy. I killed my mother with a hammer while she was sleeping." The court heard that he went on to tell police, "We're going to get rid of these devil worshippers. It had to be done to protect her." The statement of facts went on to say, Emmanuel Medeiros has a documented history of a psychotic disorder dating back to when he was only 20 years old. Just prior to the attack, Medeiros had been hospitalized but later released to live with his mother. His lawyer, Jeff Conway, said the intended act occurred while he was in a psychotic state. He was charged with second-degree murder and in court pled not guilty. Justice Joseph Profetto agreed with the Crown and the defense and found Medeiros not criminally responsible for his mother's death due to his psychotic state, saying, "The finding that I made is the only one I deem is appropriate." Medeiros remains in custody pending a hearing with the Ontario Review Board, which handles mental health cases and monitors treatment. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
London police say they've laid 6 more sexual assault charges against a registered massage therapist. They announced charges against 29-year-old Connor Rice back in December, accusing him of assaulting a client at a Wellington Road business. Police now say 6 more people have come forward with complaints against Rice, who has been released from custody with a court appearance scheduled for next month. Police are still asking anyone else who may have had a similar experience with Rice to contact them. A tiny home project supporting veterans experiencing homelessness in London has been greenlit for construction. It'll be built on the Parkwood Institute campus, made possible through a $4 million donation. With more, here's Sean Irvin.
Artist renderings visualize 25 transitional homes designed to help an estimated 200 veterans in southwestern Ontario experiencing homelessness. The new London Veteran Village will be built behind Parkwood Institute near Westminster Ponds. Construction is now possible thanks to a $4 million private donation.
Anything like this ever happened? Not even close.
Brad Field, the president and CEO of Homes for Heroes, is overwhelmed by the gift. To date, his organization has built or is working to build 5 veterans villages across Canada. London has been officially in the works since last summer.
You have served our country, and now it's our time to serve you with care, with dignity, and with lasting support.
The finished project will include 25 tiny home units, a resource center, gardens, and recreation areas. Construction of the village will be swift, with shovels in the ground as early as March. Completion is slated for late summer.
This is game changer stuff. This is stuff that you have to pinch yourself and make sure that you're not dreaming.
Well, $2.5 million is still needed to complete the project and its initial operating budget. The $4 million donation greenlit construction. The money came from the Health and Homelessness Fund for Change, a $37.6 million previously announced gift given by an anonymous London donor. The London Community Foundation, which oversees the fund, reports that the donor is thrilled to extend their commitment to homeless veterans.
They have relatives that have served in the Army. They know the impacts that those that have served to their families or to their day-to-day lives. So they've been impacted by that firsthand.
In other communities, Field said Homes for Heroes has proven to be successful in securing long-term housing for veterans.
87% success rate through our program of whether it's employment or PTSD, mental health counseling, addictions support.
In year 1, as many as 35 area vets are expected to transition from the village into their own housing. In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Officials with St. Joseph's Healthcare are expected to release the results of a third-party review into their animal research program tomorrow. They say the review was commissioned back in August following public backlash over research involving dogs conducted at the Lawson Research Institute. Hospital officials say the independent assessment was ordered to ensure all research meets the highest ethical and regulatory standards. 4 reports are expected, including reviews from Western University's Animal Care Committee, the Canadian Council on Animal Care, and an inspection by the Ontario Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness Ministry. The hospital's president and CEO, Roy Butler, is also expected to speak publicly on the controversy for the first time tomorrow. Residents in Clinton say they're growing frustrated over mail service in their community. Their local post office has been closed for roof repairs caused by heavy snow, and they say there's been little communication on when it will reopen for regular operations. Scott Miller reports.
Janice Andrews and James Atkins show up to Clinton's post office disappointed once again. Like many Clinton residents, they've been checking in every day since the town's post office was closed on February the 6th.
Well, I think last week when I came, maybe Monday or Tuesday, first it says we're closed to renovations, but then now it's got until further notice, so you have no idea.
Canada Post says a heavy snow load caused roof and ceiling damage to the Clinton Post Office on December 29th, forcing a closure until January the 6th. But additional roof and ceiling repairs meant another post office closure that started on February the 6th, with no reopening date being shared with Clinton residents.
I'm frustrated, and the fact that they're not giving us any idea of when, how, what's going on. Is it a week, a month? And there's people really waiting for important things.
It's always with no notice, and if you're working with contractors, there's going to be some planning involved here, and the post office should at least give some notice to the residents.
In response to the Clinton Post Office closure, Canada Post says, "We have been delivering mail to as many customers as possible despite the closure. We will continue to keep customers updated on when the post office will reopen. We apologize for the inconvenience and thank customers for their patience as we work through this." But patience is certainly wearing thin now for many in Clinton who come to the post office, some every day, hoping it will reopen, only to find a locked door and a sign in the window. Some residents so frustrated they've put up their own sign in the window, imploring residents to contact Canada Post to complain.
In the beginning, I think a week or two ago, they had it closed for a bit, but at least the boxes were opening and they were putting the mail in. And I know you can't use the desk, but that's fine. Yeah. As long as you get your mail.
Guess what, people? You need to find somewhere else to take our mail. I suggest either Seaforth or Godrich. Hello, something other than we just have to wait forever. That's what we're currently in. And with each day, people get madder because we don't know what's going on. And all you have to do is tell us what's going on.
In Clinton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Canada's men's hockey team played its closest game of the Olympic tournament today, barely getting by Czechia, assuring they will play for a medal in Milan. With more on that performance and the rest of Canada's results today, here's Scott Hurst.
Canadian passion was on full display following the men's hockey game in Milan.
Incredible. It was a lot of fun to be a part of.
But it was unfamiliar territory early on for Canada in its quarterfinal matchup against Czechia. After an early goal by 19-year-old Macklin Celebrini, Czechia responded with 2 goals of its own, putting Canada behind for the first time all tournament.
Classic Canadian hockey. We don't wake up the first 20 minutes of the game.
In the second period, more concern for Canada as captain Sidney Crosby left the game with an injury and did not return. But Canada was able to tie it up. Nathan McKinnon scored off a pass from Connor McDavid.
It was stressful, but we never gave up. We believed.
And that belief paid off. In the third, the teams traded goals to send this quarterfinal matchup to a 3-on-3 overtime. And it was former Toronto Maple Leaf Mitch Marner who scored the game-winning goal for Canada.
It was electric. It was just so good to be part of this community and see all the Canadian passion.
In other Olympic action, more podiums for Canadian athletes, including a gold in the men's 500-meter short track final. Stephen Dubois is now the Olympic champion. Also, Canada won a bronze medal in the women's 3,000-meter relay. The team of Dana Iblé, Kim Boutin, Florence Brunel, and Courtney Sareau. For Sareau, the 25-year-old from Moncton, New Brunswick, this is her 4th Olympic medal at these games. The spotlight returns to hockey tomorrow with the highly anticipated women's final, Canada versus the United States. The Canadians lost to the Americans earlier in the tournament, but Team Canada is the defending Olympic champion. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
When we come back, it's the Tee-Up with Brent Lail. He's got the story of a local junior hockey team and their search for a single victory this season.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. It's the Tee-Up with Brent Lail and Brent. Playoffs are underway in 4 major high school sports right now in their winter seasons.
Yeah, the schedule over the next couple of days is packed, Carlyle. And if you're looking for something exciting to do tonight, hey, get over to St. Thomas Aquinas as powerhouse volleyball programs STA and Oak Ridge play for the city title at 7 p.m. This afternoon, a basketball title was up for grabs. A packed packed house at RMC for the AA final. The top-seeded Titans had their hands full with underdogs JP2. With the score 61-60, RMC used shot blocking and transition dunks to go on a 13-0 run and take a commanding 74-60 lead. They'd win at 74-63, earning a berth at WASA, and are now just 2 wins away from a return trip to OFSA.
We just knew that we had to win this game. We didn't want our season to end early, so just to put our effort in. This is our last game on this court as well. We're getting a new school, so we knew we had to win and show up for the fans. We got a lot of people that are leaving after this year, so we got to make the most of what we just kind of tire the team out, and then that's when we go.
And the AAA championship is on the line tomorrow night on the hardwood.
Yeah, basketball powers Mother Teresa and Saunders will determine the AAA city title tomorrow night, with the Sabres hosting the game after an 8-0 record. London is hosting OFSA this year, with the WASA winners next week earning a berth. To Circle R Ranch and one last practice yesterday for the Nordic skiers who are headed to OFSA in a couple of days. 14 skiers from London and Woodstock are headed to Orillia next week to compete for a provincial title. Hey, good news, they're getting snow up in Orillia, not the rain we're getting here today.
OFSA is always really exciting. We get to compete against people from all across the province and just get to go out and have fun for a week. I'm trying to work on my technique, really. The snow's not really helping that, but we'll do the best we can.
I love spending time with the team and getting the chance to compete against higher level racers and challenging myself this year. The course is really challenging. I think there's a 28% incline, so it'll be interesting to try a new course and get the chance to go skiing.
An instant classic at the Olympics today, Brent. Canada moving on to the semifinals in men's hockey after a dramatic overtime win against Czechia, including big performances from 2 players with London ties.
What an amazing game, Carla. How about London's Nick Suzuki tying the game to force overtime on that amazing tip? And then former Knight Mitch Marner with one of the biggest goals of his life. Canada is off to the semifinals and guaranteed to play for a medal. And hey, tomorrow we've got more local stars in the women's gold medal game. Julia Gosling, Ella Shelton, and London resident Nat Spooner against the U.S. And a big week for the London Knights, who clinched a playoff spot for the 25th consecutive season. With 13 games to go, it looks like they'll finish either 4th or 5th in the standings, so the next couple of weeks they'll be fighting for home ice. And before Friday's tilt against Barrie, they'll induct Jim Sandlack, Norman Farr, and Brandon Prust into the Don Brankley Hall of Fame.
The Greater Ontario Hockey League regular season is winding down. Teams fighting for playoff spots.
Yeah, there are only 4 points separating 6th from 9th right now in the standings, so it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks. One franchise, the Sarnia Legionnaires, are about to make history, but unfortunately for the wrong reasons. They haven't won a game yet this season, but they continue to play hard as they search for that first victory.
Let's go.
The Sarnia Legionnaires are staying positive.
Tonight's the night. We always think that every single night, so we come out and work as hard as possible, and hopefully we come out on top.
Through 44 games, the GOHL club is on an historic pace. They haven't won a single game or even picked up a point, but they're sticking it out.
Well, hockey's not just winning games, right? It's kind of building character and building people, so, I mean, it's an honor to wear the C, so I kind of try and mentor a lot of the younger guys and try and help them build each other as players, but also people.
And how exactly did they get to this point? When their head coach left in the summer and most of their veteran players decided not to return, new ownership asked Mike Bondi to move from player development to head coach. They got a late start recruiting and are left with a young, inexperienced club. And while they haven't won, their effort is noticeable to opponents.
Mike's done a good job with them. You know, take the record aside, if you really sit down and watch video on them, they're very strong in their own zone and they never quit. And, you know, we played them the other night and we didn't deserve to win. They outworked us and we were fortunate to get a couple good bounces, but they've done a good job over there. And you know what? You got to give all the credit in the world to those kids. You know, it's easy to, you know, give up and walk away every game, but they're in every game and they've been working real hard.
They have an experienced coaching staff who have won a Junior B championship in the past, but this historic franchise will need some time.
I'm proud of every single player, right? We're all young. They're coming out every single practice, every single game. My brother's on the team. He's still doing the same thing, coming out. So, I mean, I'm unbelievably proud of every single player on the team.
They have 6 games remaining, and the schedule looks daunting. But Captain Owen Hay believes.
We'll win a game, I promise you that.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Back on the desk with Julie Anderson now. And Julie, a busy day for you, I think, weather-wise, because it's not just one thing happening in one place. It's a bunch of different things happening, depending where you are.
Yes, and through the day today, watching these all different warnings in effect, everything from freezing rain to snowfall to winter storm. It was a very active day on the roads. In terms of what we have out there tonight, light drizzle to freezing drizzle as we move toward midnight. Now, our high and low temperature, not really a big spread. 2 degrees our high today, and that was reached overnight through the day today, hovering at around +1, and that's what kept us in the rain and not the freezing rain. So that was a good move for us in terms of the most of that cold air staying off to the northeast. We got off lucky today. Winds out of the east at 26 kilometers per hour. We do have a little bit of thunderstorm action towards Michigan right now. So this is actually going to approach the London area. It will fall apart, but there is slight risk for some thunderstorms in and around Sarnia in the next hour and a half. You can see this snowfall that has moved well off to the east-northeast towards Peterborough and the Kawarthas. And again, quiet conditions, but freezing drizzle. So that's that light misty conditions, still creating some slippery conditions on area roads. It was a very dangerous day to the east of London and northeast with that freezing rain. Again, into the warm sector tonight. Temperatures will drop off, however, not getting cold across the region. This system will stall out. And over the coming days, we'll be dealing with cloud cover and the chance for showers. We'll stay on the mild side over the next couple of days, and the cold air not returning until over the weekend. Overnight at the freezing mark in London, -3 to -2 in Mount Forest and KW, and -1 along the lakeshore of Huron. Where the cold air is tonight, cold weather warnings in effect in through central and northern Alberta, central and northern Saskatchewan. Wind chills tonight close to -40. Temperatures moderating a bit as we head toward northwestern Ontario at -4 in Thunder Bay, and heading to the east coast tonight, -1 in Halifax and at the freezing mark in St. John's. We have some warm air bottled up towards the southern plains. We have our weather system that moved out of the central plains and bringing quite the mess of weather into parts of southern Ontario. So this is at 8 o'clock, and that's that little storm cell I was just mentioning. It looks to split apart and develop into a little bit of light freezing drizzle just east of London. So just keeping an eye on that for tonight. As we head into your Thursday morning, there'll be some showers toward Windsor and Chatham, Sarnia. The rest of the region just cloudy. We'll see some breaks in the cloud cover toward Huron County as we head through mid-morning, but mainly cloudy across the rest of the region. A fairly solid deck of cloud south of Huron. As we head into Thursday night, the chance for showers moving back in, and then into your Friday, we do have a bit of rain in the forecast. You can see as it comes into the area Friday early. So your Thursday forecast, easterly winds continue. We'll take the high to 4 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Cloudy conditions holding. As we head into Thursday night, showers, probability goes up, and then rain in the forecast on Friday. It looks like we will see a lot of moisture Thursday night into Friday morning. Now, with the melt continuing across our region, please stay away from those rivers and streams. They will be rising in the coming days. Significant melt, more moisture coming in. With that rainfall, we could see some dangerous conditions develop and a little bit of localized flooding in low-lying areas. 2 degrees with the chance of a rain-snow mix heading into Saturday evening, and the risk of flurries on Sunday. We'll drop down to -3 on Monday and -5 on Tuesday. Midwestern Ontario, cloudy with sunny breaks tomorrow in parts of Huron County and Bruce, but we'll see a fairly solid deck of cloud southern parts of southern Huron and Perth County. Temperatures holding between 2 and 3 degrees. Bit of a rain-snow mix on a Friday, keeping an eye on that next weather system coming in. Friday could be an interesting day in terms of those temperatures near the freezing mark in some areas once again, which will lead to that mixed precipitation, Carlyle. Some flurries in the forecast on Saturday, flurries on Sunday, and daytime Some highs dropping off as we head through the early part of next week. But we need some sunshine, so we're going to have to hold on until Monday and Tuesday when temperatures drop back down to about -4. So we are in for some cloudy, dreary conditions in the forecast. Please be aware of that freezing drizzle out there tonight and into the early part of tomorrow morning.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, did Mother Nature cool off the housing market? Real estate experts say winter weather may be a factor in sluggish sales.
Not sure if you caught the big announcement at 8 o'clock this morning, but Dallas Smith is playing in Park Hill, and we got Beat the Box Office tickets for you. Make sure you're listening at 8:35 tomorrow morning, and good luck.
Canadian real estate experts say home sales fell across the country last month, and they say the weather may have been a factor. With the latest market outlook, here's Heather Wright.
That January snowstorm that buried parts of southern Ontario in as much as 60 centimeters of snow and left many roads impassable for days is now being blamed for more than just messy driving.
First day we had one party.
Alan Nasseri is a real estate broker and says a typical open house usually has about 10 interested parties. But last month, some were virtually empty. He says the weather played a role in the slow month, but so too did economic uncertainty.
There are way less buyers in the market as that confidence in the market, at least based on our observation, is not there at this time.
Home sales across Canada fell to multi-year lows in January as winter storms compounded an already cooling real estate sector. The Canadian Real Estate Association says home sales were down more than 16% last month compared to the year before and down nearly 6% compared to December.
The extent of the weakness in the sales data could just be like 2 or 3 business days where people didn't get out and do stuff. So I say, you just have to wait till next month to see if maybe it is a fundamental thing that's changed or whether it was weather.
While interest rates and home prices are down, houses are still expensive in many markets. Economic uncertainty is keeping many would-be buyers on the sideline, as well as a lack of inventory when it comes to what buyers actually want.
Housing stock and what's available in the market is a lot of very expensive detached homes and a lot of small condos and not a lot of sort of family-friendly, affordable middle stuff.
While CREA expects the real estate market will pick up this year, economists predict the extent of any rebound won't be clear until the spring. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A new poll suggests advancing technologies are raising fears among Canadians of potentially falling for a scam. The Leger poll surveyed more than 1,500 Canadian adults over the last 2 months. It found 75% of respondents felt increasingly vulnerable to financial fraud tied to rapidly evolving artificial intelligence. 82% said they believe scams are becoming harder to spot. The poll also surveyed 262 Canadian business owners, 2/3 of whom said they feel more exposed to fraud than in previous years, citing AI-driven crime as a major threat. Netflix officials are reportedly threatening the owners of TikTok with litigation over the platform's AI video generation software.
This is not over, not by a long shot.
That's a scene from the recently released final season of Stranger Things. It's one of several copyrighted properties Netflix officials say were improperly copied by ByteDance's platform. According to a report in Variety, Netflix has joined other studios in filing suit against the Chinese tech giant, suggesting the video generation tool is a high-speed piracy engine. Yesterday, TikTok officials said they would add guardrails preventing copyright abuse or recreating actor likenesses. Strength in the technology and base metal sectors helped Canada's main stock index today. The TSX gained 493 points. In New York, the Dow added 129. The Nasdaq is up 175. The Canadian dollar dropped 0.12 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $100 an ounce, and oil is up $2.79 a barrel. Later on CTV News, the early years of the Beatles through Paul McCartney's lens. His photographic time capsule on display at a Toronto gallery. Welcome back. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is distancing himself from comments made by one of his MPs. Jamil Javani called Canada's reaction to U.S. tariffs an anti-America hissy fit.
Well, he speaks for himself, and I speak for the party.
Javani made the comments to right-wing U.S. media outlet Breitbart after making a solo trip to Washington to meet with senior U.S. officials. He called his conversations productive. Poilievre says he has since spoken to Javani following the trip. The Conservative leader says Canada needs to focus on what we can do at home to increase leverage in trade negotiations.
My view is that he represents a riding that has been disproportionately impacted by the dispute. He's from just outside of Oshawa. 1,200 Ottawa-Oshawa residents have lost their jobs, in part due to the tariffs. And I think that it's necessary for all MPs to use all the connections and work that they can in order to overturn the tariffs and protect Canadian jobs. So I encourage all MPs to fight the tariffs and stand up for Canada.
Javani has been described as a friend of the American Vice President, J.D. Vance. They went to university together, and Javani helped run a charity organization founded by Vance from 2016 to 2018. Canada's new ambassador to the United States has officially taken over the role. Mark Wiseman presented his credentials to President Donald Trump yesterday. Wiseman is a global investment banker and a longtime friend of Prime Minister Mark Carney. He says he wants to help Canada address U.S. tariffs ahead of the North American Trade Agreement review this year. In a statement, Wiseman calls it a profound privilege to serve as ambassador. Fire crews were called for a structure collapse in Brussels yesterday. The roof of a small shed attached to a downtown building had caved in. There appeared to be heavy snow on what was left of the roof. Huron-East fire crews were investigating and securing the scene. Tomorrow on CTV News, going for gold. Canada face their arch rivals, the USA, in the Olympic women's hockey final. Can they overcome their last meeting, a blowout loss in the group stage? That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
The risk for freezing drizzle will continue overnight. Temperatures on the milder side, though, heading into your Thursday. Thank you to Gordon Rose. Gordon is from Woodstock, but took this photo near Thamesford. Temperature-wise, we'll see a dip as we head into early next week. We drop back below the freezing mark for our daytime highs.
Today is Ash Wednesday, celebrated in New Orleans this week during Mardi Gras festivities. Streets were filled yesterday for Shrove Tuesday. Today is the beginning of Lent, a 40-day fasting period. Muslims around the world are marking the holy month of Ramadan.
This is a month of compassion and when the community comes together.
Muslims observing Ramadan will fast during daylight hours, using the time from dawn until sunset for prayer and reflection. Federal workers are expressing concerns ahead of a more strict return to office mandate and planned job cuts. As Caitlin Wilson reports, the changes could force some out of the public service completely.
Brooklyn Holmes is on maternity leave with her 3-month-old son. She isn't set to return to work at Employment and Social Development Canada until the fall. But already she doesn't know if she'll have a job to go back to.
We have 60 days to decide if we want to take part in the voluntary departure program. And after that, we would maybe compete for our jobs if not enough people have left.
She and her husband both work for the federal government, and her job is among thousands affected by workforce reductions. At the same time, if she returns, she'll be expected in the office 4 days a week under the latest return to office mandate.
Right now, trains are breaking down, buses are running off schedule, so I'm worried about whether or not I'm going to be able to get to work on time and then also get to daycare and school drop-off and pick up on time.
That's assuming she has childcare at all. Her oldest starts kindergarten in the fall, and at the start of the school year, the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board had more than 1,000 children on wait lists for extended day programs.
We put ourselves on the wait list, but they don't make those decisions until sometimes I think it could be even August.
And daycare for her youngest is no different. Operators say wait lists have only grown under the $10 a day childcare program.
I actually got on the list before I was pregnant, so I'm hoping that will be enough to get him a spot in the fall.
According to one union representing public servants, that uncertainty is now a reality for many women and working parents.
These decisions have not been based in facts and evidence, and they're not taking into account the lives of people. The wait lists were already long, and for folks to find care on such short notice is now just going to add an extra burden to the system.
For Holmes, she's leaning towards voluntarily leaving the public service and trying self-employment, even if it means less pay.
I think women disproportionately bear the cost of these kind of policies, so it would be disappointing if the policies resulted in women leaving the workforce in large numbers.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, a new exhibit has opened at the Ontario Art Gallery in Toronto, showcasing hundreds of photos taken by Paul McCartney in the years the Beatles were becoming global superstars. With more, here's Jessica Smith.
A behind-the-scenes look at a band that helped shape a generation.
The photographs are really great pictures unto themselves, and then they tell an important story that no one else really could have told except one of the Beatles.
A new exhibition at the Art Gallery of Ontario titled Paul McCartney Photographs 1963 to 64 Eyes of the Storm is making its Canadian debut, giving people a never-before-seen look at more than 250 photos taken by Paul McCartney himself.
He spoke of it as, you know, for him it was a way of capturing something that he didn't know how long it would last. I mean, decades later, we know it's long-lasting.
Each picture a candid look at the iconic band's early days on their journey to global stardom.
It's 3 months. It's the end of 1963 into like the beginning of 1964, so it's a very short period, and it's that moment when the Beatles become the Beatles, like it's that Beatlemania.
Giving a rare look into the lives of Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr.
These are like family photographs, and there's the contrast is that there are professional photographers with them, and we do show some of that.
Helping fans that span generations connect in a new way to their favorite band.
The Paul McCartney Photographs 1963 to 64 Eyes of the Storm photo exhibition is now open to AGO members. It opens to the public on March 24th and runs all the way through until June 7th. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.